Today's date is October 6, 2025. Time is 1:30 p.m. Now, this next video was not my brainchild. I did not develop it. It comes from another YouTuber. And there are also many discussions on YouTube about this particular video that I'm about to show. Now, the emphasis of the video runs along with what I have been saying in regards to this doesn't make any sense. But this video sort of makes this make sense. Now, let's go back to CK. Supposedly, the alleged individual released a projectile which entered into the front of the neck. You can see these videos, or you can see these images on YouTube and TikTok, or wherever you want to try to find them. I'm not putting them in my video only because YouTube is like really sensitive nowadays with this community violation stuff. I might be talking in riddles right now, so hopefully you guys can follow me. Anyway, so the wound sustained was not consistent with the weapon, the entry, and the exit. That type of weapon is used to take down grizzly bears and moose, and produces a great amount of damage, which wasn't apparent. Okay, so we can rule that out. Now, the image that you're about to see right now, or the video you're about to see, makes a little bit more sense. Let's look at several things. Number one, we don't have any video from the rear of CK. That was all taken away after everything happened. The people that attended CK didn't have any blood. Very strange. And as I said, if it was a neck penetration, then there would have been a carotid artery involved, and that would have sustained a great deal of sanguineous fluid. Let's put it that way. Okay. Now, as far as the video is concerned that I'm about to show, it shows an individual with a camera. Now, some people say that camera, and I'll show an image of it, and then I'll show the video, is a weapon. So you see in the video where once the sound is heard, there's a jerking of that camera. The person next to it also jerks, sort of responds to it. Some people believe those individuals are working in tangent. I'm not sure. But strangely enough, the individual that was holding the camera, after everything happened, as soon as it happened, he didn't run like everybody else. Like, people were, Godzilla was chasing him or something like that. You see in these Japanese movies, he didn't run. He just kind of put down whatever he had, sort of brought it down, backed into the crowd, and just kind of disappeared. Okay, and then of course all of the images from the rear, we don't have them. We don't have the autopsy report saying exactly where the penetration was and where the exit wound was. Now, the exit wound as well was larger than what you would expect from a projectile in the front going through. It was larger, which indicates it was a much smaller caliber projectile that actually entered through the back and came out through the front, which all this makes sense. Now, that makes sense. I don't work for any investigative agencies, but to me, there, 2 and 2 equals 4. The other way, it doesn't. So take a look at the video, and I'll hit you up on the other side. Tell me what you think.
Counting or not counting gang violence? Great. Counting or not counting gang violence? Great.
None of this is definitive. However, it does make a lot more sense that this was the way it went. Whether it was this guy, whether he had this weapon that people, this camera weapon people are talking about, who knows? As I said, it's a very grainy video, but it's very suspicious behavior. It sort of synchronizes with what happened. And it's, you know, I'm not a ballistic expert. I'm not even a gun expert in any way, shape, or form. I just kind of look at the obvious and try to decipher as to what the situation may be. But this makes more sense. It's one of the reasons why we don't have the autopsy report. We don't know if there was an entry wound in the back coming out through the front. And I think it's going to stay that way for a while. Either way, there are plenty of videos on this and on other things. Don't hang your hat on this one. I'm just a messenger, but it's something to think about. That I wanted to mention, which I don't think I made it apparent in my earlier videos, is where I may not be a weapon expert or ballistics expert, anything like that. I am an expert in emergency care. I spent 20 years in emergency medicine. 14 of those years were in the Navy as a corpsman, and another 6 years were emergency medicine, hopping in and out of various facilities. One was where I worked in the minor trauma area at DC General Hospital, where we saw plenty of gunshot wounds, and I attended and sutured and repaired all kinds of wounds in regards to emergency medicine. So I do know my way in those circles. Now let me explain what I think happened in regards to the wound, why it was the way it was. I think a small caliber projectile came in from the back. I think it did nick his spinal cord, but I think it missed his carotid artery. I say that because there didn't appear to be a lot of blood. Of course, looking at it from the other side, it would look like, because of where it went in, that it would definitely snag the carotid artery. If that was the case, that, you know, you would have seen a lot more blood. But from the rear, if it came in at an angle, it would have nicked the spinal cord, which is the reason for his posture after it happened, and why there was no large amount of blood either. So that makes a lot of sense. And of course, the exit wound being a little bit larger than what you would see from an entry wound coming from the front. Just my 2 cents on all that. Could be wrong, highly unlikely, but take it for what it's worth. Good enough. Have a good day. Food for thought.